The mother church is the first church of Christ Scientists. It was the first one that was built. At the time, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the original edifice was not large enough to meet the demands of the growth of Christian Science, and so they needed to add a newer edifice that was much larger to meet the needs of the congregation. The original edifice was built in 13 months and completed in 1894. The extension edifice was constructed in just about 23 months and completed in 1906.
100 and some years seemed to be enough, and water was finding ways in. And I said, every day we wait to solve the problems that need to be solved are going to cost a multiple of what they would have the day before.
SGH became involved with the church over 20 years ago and did a whole series of investigations into deterioration, leakage, really to understand what the issues were throughout the church, both in the original and the extension. We had quite a bit of structural review, analysis, and strengthening as part of the restoration project.
The mission of the project was to have a 100-year fix from the top down by rebuilding the cupola in its entirety, right down to things at the foundation level where we did some masonry repairs.
We looked harder up at the cupola from the inside and decided we needed a full scan of it. Casey from SGH and two of her compatriots are licensed climbers. So she said, well, we'll just go up on a weekend and climb it.
Yeah. It's actually pretty peaceful because you're so far up. You know, really the only thing you have to worry about is the falcon next door. The terracotta, which had trees growing out of it, it was in such bad condition. We used a tensioned cable system that was attached only at the top and the bottom, so we didn't have penetrations along the length.
The Mother Church original cloth rot wiring needed to be replaced. We trenched all of the existing terracotta and plaster, put in new conduit, and rewired the entire building. With that came refinishing of plaster, some ornamental paint. In similar fashion, we moved into the Mother Church extension and did a very similar process of upgrading the power, wiring, and lighting. Being up in the main arch and seeing all the ribs and the rosettes, the level of detail in the rosettes, it was remarkable, and you never see it. And in today's standard, you may not do that level of detail because it's so far out of sight. There's finding that sweet spot where you don't spend too much money on craftsmanship for something that's not going to be observed.
There's this great picture of the interior of the church being scaffolded, and it literally looks like a jungle gym. The masons, they were here almost as long as we were, and many of those workers were truly artisans. It's getting harder and harder to find that quality of work, whether it's masonry or other trades.
And then there was the realization that we need to focus on community now, overall accessibility for the public, which brought in the new elevator that accessed the parking garage and the lobby and the auditorium. That really didn't exist before this.
It's very much a stewardship of this neighborhood, which we feel is very important to us.
To have worked on a building that just had such a long story. We were all very passionate about the work we did every single day.
I hope that, you know, when this has to get repaired in another 100 years, you know, they'll see the work that we did and go, oh, that was clever.
At one point, I think there was as many as 340 workers here. And the amount of pride in what everyone was doing on the project is a testament to how it came out and the time put into it.